Welcome to another Witcher lore video. I was considering what video to make today when I realised that it's been quite some time since I last made a video on anyone from Nilfgaard, or on Nilfgaard in general, so I've decided to make today's video on a character that has always interested me. That character being Fergus var Emreis, who is the father of Fergus var Emreis. Now I imagine all of you watching will know of Fergus var Emreis. He appeared in both The Witcher 3 and throughout the books, but I doubt all of you will know of his father, Fergus var Emreis. So, in today's video, I hope to cover all of the information we have on this character. So I've decided that the best way to cover the information we have on this character is to split this video into 3 sections. In the first section, I'll discuss what we know about this character in the Witcher book, Tower of the Swallow, then I will discuss the information from the Lady of the Lake, and then finally, I'll discuss the information from the Witcher Pen and Paper RPG. To begin with, the Tower of the Swallow. In the Tower of the Swallow, we find out that Fergus var Emreis was the emperor who secured Covir's neutrality. This was through a treaty signed between Fergus and Estoril Tyson. The treaty specifies that Covir is not allowed to support the enemies of Nilfgaard through money or troops. Obviously, eventually Tancred finds a clever way around this, but I'll get into that in a later video. Emperor Fergus also issued a decree making women equal in the Imperial Army. He ordered that if someone were to be emancipated, the rules for this emancipation should be equal for everyone. And if you don't know what emancipation means, it effectively means when you free somebody from someone's control. So an example of that would be if you were to have a parent or legal guardian and then you were to free a minor from their control. So effectively, that guardian would no longer have any responsibilities for that child, but it could also be used in the context of slavery. You may emancipate a slave, which is setting them free. Since this decree, both male and female prisoners have served their sentences in shared cells, so men and women aren't separated in prison. They are equal throughout Nilfgaardian society because of this decree. We also know that sometime around the year 1228, Vaisogota of Corvo led a group of people against the ideals of this emperor, and after catching wind of this, Fergus captured one of the conspirators, who outed Vaisogota as the leader, and then the emperor then banished him under the threat of execution, should he ever return to the Empire. Ciri actually meets this character in the books and spends quite a fair amount of time with him as he takes care of her wounds and helps her get better, and also allows her to have a place to hide. But as I said before, I'll get into characters like this in later videos. Next, for what we find out in Lady of the Lake. In the Lady of the Lake, Emir states that his father was a great ruler, but he did not believe in myths or legends. He also said that his father used to bring him to the park. I find this especially interesting, as it shows that despite coming across as an emperor similar to Emir in his ruthlessness, he still found the time to see his son and in a way nurture him. I'll discuss this next bit of information in more detail later in the video, but we also know that Fergus was usurped from his throne. We do find this out earlier in the books, but in this book, we discovered that Fergus was initially tortured by the usurper, who wanted the emperor to openly grant legitimacy to his coup. Fergus refused, so the usurper decided to torture his at the time 13-year-old son, Emir. Fergus still refused, so was killed by the usurper. At this point, Emir was transformed into a humanoid hedgehog by a mage, and I will talk about Emir and everything to do with that in a later video, but just as a very basic bit of information, Emir then hid with the help of the Nilfgaardian noble Ardal Hay, and then he eventually fled the borders of Nilfgaard. Finally, to discuss the information from the Witcher Pen and Paper RPG, this RPG expands upon the lore of Fergus to an extent. It states that Fergus is the son of Torres var Emreis, and that he was in fact the first emperor to contact the north. He was also the emperor that shaped the Empire of Nilfgaard into what it is today. Emperor Fergus var Emreis was overthrown by the usurper in 1233. The usurper continued the empire's expansion until he was overthrown by Fergus's son, Emir. In the year 1261, Fergus made the decision to expand Nilfgaard, and so attacked the kingdom of Aetolia. Nilfgaard completely overwhelmed it, and it was made an example of to the other kingdoms. This first move was to make it clear to everyone what Fergus's plans were, and just how ruthless he could be. Next, Fergus began to move on Vicovaro, but Vicovaro had seen what Nilfgaard had done to Aetolia, so instead asked to join the Empire. Vicovaro joined the Empire and maintained the safety of their country, and in a way, their identity and culture. as their land wasn't invaded and destroyed and a new government set up in place of the one that refused the Empire. They got to maintain everything they had before, they were just now part of Nilfgaard, and they had to pay certain taxes. Finally, Fergus moved into Gemira. This was what he had been after all along, as the mines in Gemira were the only mines in the south that yielded the precious dimeritium. Fergus was also interested in getting some of the skilled Gemira warriors in his army. Gemira also became part of Nilfgaard under Fergus's reign. Before taking over any other land, the coup happened and Fergus was killed by the usurper, at which point the usurper then carried on expanding the empire, and then when Emir became in charge of the empire, he expanded it more than both of them. Anyway guys, I hope you've all enjoyed today's video. This has been quite an interesting one to make. I feel like this character really isn't touched upon in the books, the games, or really anything, and I've had to gather all this information from various sources, and I hope you've all learnt something new, because now you have a bit more understanding of the origins of Emir and the sort of role model he had growing up. And also just knowing more about the Witcher lore I feel like is quite interesting. If you've enjoyed today's video guys, I'd really appreciate you liking it, it really does help me out, and thank you all for doing that. If this is the first video you're finding on my channel, be sure to subscribe. I do Witcher lore videos every few days, I do Witcher gameplay, I do Red Dead, I'm going to get back to that soon, I promise. So if you want to make sure you don't miss any of those videos, be sure to subscribe. Also be sure to follow me on Twitter, I do updates on there whenever anything interesting happens. You can check out my Twitter and see what I post on there, there's pictures and stuff, so thank you to every single one of you that does that. Also, be sure to follow me on Twitch. I play games on there whenever I can. I have a lot of fun on there with you guys. So if you want to make sure you don't miss those streams when I do go live, go and follow me on there. Also, be sure to join the Discord and Reddit. It's down in the description. I'm pretty sure you'll know what they're for. So thank you all so much for doing all of that. Finally guys, a big thank you to the Patreon pledges, you guys are amazing. I want to say thank you to every single one of you, you really do help out the channel. Getting this money from you guys is very, very helpful, and I just want to say thank you to every single one of these names. I'm glad to have all of you at the end of these videos. Anyway guys, I hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next one. Have an awesome rest of the week.